Amazing Spider-Man #7 by Spencer is so dumb that I had to laugh at it. It actually did make me laugh, but the thing that made me laugh was just really stupid. So I laughed. Hey, look, a worthless page. All of this stuff could be put on another page. This is the only important part of this page. Everything else doesn't matter. You know how I know it doesn't matter? I think everybody else knows it doesn't matter. I don't need to explain this. Never mind. So at the last issue, everyone in the bar with no name turned on Peter Parker and Boomerang. Now, there are things in this that have the potential to be good. All of these villains are trying to kill these two guys. This is all exposition leading to the story. This happened last issue. This doesn't need to be in here. Most comic books don't do this anymore. Back in the old days, when comics would do this, it'd be just a few boxes of paragraphs. So a little bit of exposition, straight to the point, catches you up to speed. So all these people are trying to kill Peter Parker and Boomerang, and it's not necessarily bad action, you know. I mean, they need to emphasize this more. And congrats on using an actual splash page, but this, you know, should be here. And it definitely does not need all of this text. Like, it is entirely unnecessary to have this much conversation. And that's one of the problems with each one of these characterizations, is that none of the characters get to the point when they talk. The last issue I read was Detective Comics 102? 102, and in it, the Arkham Knight, very point blank in like 2 caption balloons, tells Robin what he wants, which is join me. And in this comic, there's a similar thing that happens at the end with Wilson Fisk, where there's this character who shows up, and I don't know who this character is. I suppose he's from the past. He's a mysterious character in the background, and he wants Wilson Fisk to pledge his allegiance to him. And it takes 3 or 4 pages for him to get to the point. And that's a problem. Because nobody really talks this much, and most people do get to the point. But there's no need for all of this dialogue. So this is a fight, and this could be a really interesting fight. I don't really care for the art. Like, it's the opposite of the art in the Detective Comics. Ironically enough, Peter Parker actually references Batman. He says, where is it? Boomerang supervillain cover story. For me, I'm sorry, I'm bad at reading out loud. Boomerang's supervillain cover story for me that he used to get us in the door. Maybe I can use it to bluff them. After all, criminals are a superstitious and cowardly lot. I read that somewhere. He needs to not reference better comic books. But they're in this major fight, and everything's going crazy, and it's just any tension that could be built is continuously undercut by stupid, silly dialogue and an overabundance of narration. Here. So Boomerang snatches a gun away from one of the guys. He hands it to Peter. He says, "Here, Pete, catch. You know how to use this thing." Here, Pete, catch. You know how to use that thing? ? No, I don't. It's easy. It's just like the gun in Call of Duty Latveria. You never let me play Call of Duty Latveria. That's because you just slow me down. War is no place for a sweet soul like you, Pete, but trust me, this is easy. So any tension that could be in this comic book is thrown right out the window with really crappy dialogue like that. It just takes you out of it. It shows that nothing is serious and that you don't need to be worried about anything, you know? I mean, you know Spider-Man's going to survive. I mean, shit, even when he gets killed in other comic books, he eventually comes back to life. But all of it's undercut. The only interesting thing here that happens is that somebody is about to hit Peter with fire, and Boomerang jumps in front of it to save Peter. That's interesting. If this is about like a redemption story arc for Boomerang, that is a really cool idea. That's a great idea. But this comic is just dumb. Like, you have to stop and go, okay, is this a good idea? If the idea is cool, go with it. If it's a good idea, go with it. And if it is a good idea, go with it. Make sure that your execution of said idea isn't fucking stupid. Because if it's fucking stupid, nobody's going to want to read this. And the execution in this is dumb. So the thing about this comic that was stupid that made me laugh was, so to get into the bar with no name, Boomerang tells everyone that Peter's a supervillain called the Liar. And so Peter uses that identity to lie. He basically says, all your weapons will backfire and you will kill each other. So saith the Liar, Alakazam. And everybody stops and they don't know what to do or to say. No, why would people do this? This is like a cosplay event. Like, this is a joke. The bar with no name is a joke. Like, I hate it. But anyway, they fall for it long enough for Boomerang to throw a bomb. Peter and Boomerang escape. I don't think I can show anymore because of copyright, but what is it? I'll show one more thing that was just stupid, because Boomerang and Peter are sitting there and they're talking about Boomerang changing his ways and redeeming himself. And Peter doesn't believe him, so Peter says, oh, Spider-Man followed you to your poker game the other night and saw that you were still with your old supervillain friends. And so Boomerang tells him the truth, which I don't know why Peter believes this, because, I mean, he could be lying, but apparently all of his buddies that he's playing poker with are robots made by the Tinkerer. And this is the dialogue. Tinkerer, it's Boomerang. Yeah, all the robots break down. Tinkerer, it's because they start singing the song by what is it, Kenny Rogers? Which a few of my coworkers say I look like Kenny Rogers. I don't think that's true. I think that's completely untrue. But they start singing that song, Know When to Hold 'Em, Know When to Fold 'Em. And I started reading the lines. And I'm like, isn't there a copyright issue? Marvel can't take the lyrics and put it in a comic. I'm like, how can they do that? Did they get the rights? And then all the robots break down. And this is the dialogue when Boomerang calls the Tinkerer. Tinkerer, it's Boomerang. Yeah, they're broken down again. I don't know. One minute they were fine. Then they started singing and suddenly they can't sing? Why not? What do you mean, rights issues? You're telling me these LMDs can rob a bank, but they can't do karaoke? No, I get it. These robots were designed for combat, not for companionship. Sigh, yes, I'll try turning them off and on again. So, Boomerang trying to redeem himself and trying to make friends with Peter Parker, not realizing that he's Spider-Man, is actually an interesting story, and that very much would be like an old school Spider-Man story, because so much of the conflict and interesting things that happen in Spider-Man stories is that people have different relationships with Peter Parker than they do with Spider-Man. You know, Aunt May thinks Spider-Man's a crook, but she adores Peter. Gwen Stacy thought that thought that Spider-Man murdered her father, but she's in love with Peter. Robbie Robertson likes both Spider-Man and Peter. J. Jonah Jameson hates Spider-Man and Peter, but his relationship, of course, is ambivalent. Like, that's called good writing. So a redemption story for Boomerang and trying to make friends with Peter Parker and try to be like a decent human being, that is an interesting story, but the execution is awful, and it makes me sick and sad, because Spider-Man used to be dope, and now he's just a dope. I'm filled with revulsion. I'm going to hold on to this, though. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Check out my other YouTube channel, Video Games TV, my other YouTube channel, Strange Cities TV, and feel free to check out my Patreon. You can look it up under Would You Kindly Productions. Any money that you give to it, should you decide to give to it, will go towards a future movie project that I would like to make. Anyway, I haven't done much on the project yet, so I have nothing to say about the project, but it's gonna happen eventually. I'm just finishing up other things. Anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe. Take care. Bye.